Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to another episode of the Embracing Your Admixture series on this channel. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to embrace your Asian or Pacific Islander admixture. Please forgive me if I use any of the wrong terminology throughout this video. This is not a part of my personal admixture, but I am going to talk to you about how I personally familiarized myself with more of the Asian culture, even though it's not a part of my background at all. And hopefully, if this actually is a part of your background, you can use some of these tips so that you don't have to have that feeling of, oh, I'm being a fraud, or I'm not really authentic, or I don't feel comfortable embracing that part of myself. The first thing you want to realize is that you don't have to fit a certain stereotype in order to embrace a certain part of yourself. So, one of the ways that I actually familiarized myself with the Asian culture, the first thing I did was start eating the food. I mean, that is something that is very simple and easy for you to use when it comes to embracing your Asian admixture. What kinds of foods do they eat in that part of the world? Do they eat a lot of sushi? Do they eat lots of rice as their side dish? Do they like to have a lot of soup? Like miso soup is one of my favorites. I love egg drop soup as well. Can you start incorporating those things in your diet? Because a lot of people don't realize that sometimes when it comes to your ethnic background, the people who are from your country, they ate a certain way because maybe those foods grew in that country, or maybe a lot of the people from that background, they saw the health benefits that come from eating the foods from that country. A lot of the girls that I know that have an Asian background are extremely skinny and have like very nice glowing skin. So another thing you can do is, can you look up how they have that beautiful skin, how they have those nice bodies and like these nice figures where it's like they don't struggle as much with obesity like how we do here in the United States. The Asian culture is actually what got me onto green tea. Drinking green tea every day actually contributed to me losing weight, especially around my waist. So for those of you who are a part of the Discord or the Patreon, you know that for me, at my very smallest, I had a 23-inch waist and I'm 5'9", so that's extremely skinny for my height. And a part of how I got that, besides doing my workouts and all that other stuff, part of how I got that was I was drinking a lot of green tea at the time. I was drinking about 3 cups of green tea, and it really did have an effect on getting rid of belly fat, even if you think you barely have any belly fat. But that is a beauty tip that I learned from the Asian culture. A lot of Asian cultures have amazing beauty tips. I also learned about rice water. I learned about that from Asian culture. So that's another way you can embrace your heritage. You can start to look up the different beauty tips from people who come from that culture. So as far as rice water, that helped to strengthen my hair. By the way, when I was making my own rice water, I was not letting it have that nasty fermented smell. I was putting jasmine oil in it. Jasmine oil is also something that I learned from Asian culture. Jasmine flower smells lovely. And it can also treat bacterial infections. So if you have an infection like on your scalp or anything, or on your skin, jasmine oil can help with that, and it smells good. I learned that from the Asian culture. Another thing that you can do to embrace that part of yourself is you can start to watch the media from that country. So K-pop is a huge thing. I listen to K-pop. I know that K-dramas are also a really big thing. And by the way, you can find K-dramas on Netflix. And then when it comes to K-pop, all you have to do is go on your phone. And if you have an Apple iPhone, you can just search K-pop and a whole bunch of playlists will come up. And you can just add that to your playlist and start familiarizing yourself with the music. You might be thinking, oh, I'm only like 20% Korean. Oh, I only have XYZ percentage. But this series is not about blood quantum policing. This series is more about figuring out a creative way to love yourself more. Also, when it comes to your family history, is there a family member that you can ask about your Asian background? Like, who was your Asian family member? Was it a grandparent? Did someone immigrate from another country to the United States? If so, do you know the reason why? So learning their immigration story can also help you to connect with that part of yourself as well. Why did they immigrate to the United States? What was happening? Were they some sort of refugee? Did they fight in a war or something? Why did they come to the US? That is a special story that could have been passed down throughout your family, and you'll never know unless you ask. Another thing that I did to connect with Asian culture, even though it's not a part of my background, I do enjoy certain aspects of Asian culture, but I personally love collecting chopsticks. I know that not every person from an Asian background uses chopsticks, but if you are into chopsticks, they have some really cute ones at stores like Daiso. You can also go on websites like Yes Style, and you can get a lot of beauty products there. That is one of my favorite kind of Asian themed online beauty stores. Another thing that I actually love about Asian culture that helped me to embrace it, even though it wasn't even a part of my background, was the different types of makeup and stuff. I've noticed that in a lot of Asian countries, they specialize in skincare and makeup products for sensitive skin. So a lot of the American products in the past have like given me breakouts or given me like allergic reactions, but I've noticed that a lot of the Asian beauty products are very gentle. So is there a way you can begin to incorporate those things into your everyday life? Like, do you know how to do Aegyo Sal makeup? Do you know how to do Douyin makeup? And then maybe if you have a Pacific Islander background, do you know how to wear the cultural or tribal clothing that is associated with those islands? When I think of the Pacific Islander background in particular, I kind of think of like the very pretty curly slash wavy hair. I basically think of Moana, like Princess Moana. I'm not sure if she's from a real island or a fictional island, but I think of the pretty flowers that you put in your hair. Is there a way that you can start maybe getting your own little cute collection of flowers, and maybe like once a week you try to wear a flower that matches your outfit? Also, you may want to start thinking about your facial features, your hair texture. Do you have any features from that part of the world? Like, I guess when I think of Pacific Islanders in particular, I think of these beautiful tropical colors in their clothing. Do any of those colors happen to look good on your complexion? Do any of those colors happen to really make you stand out and make you feel like you're more connected with that culture? In some of my past videos, I've talked about how you can get a flag from wherever your background is from. You can just learn about the history of that country, and that may make you feel more connected. Another thing that I really think about a lot when it comes to the Pacific Islander background is I think of the beach. Are there any like cute bikinis? I mean, if I were you, I would get like a cute bikini or a cute swimsuit or one of those cute skirts. Okay, so I went to Hawaii and I saw a lot of the girls who were actually from there and who like live there. A lot of them would walk around with these flower skirts on, like it was just another piece of clothing. In the United States, I haven't really seen that. I know that Hawaii is like a part of the US or whatever, but the culture that I experienced when I was actually in Hawaii, when I was around the women who have that native Pacific Islander background, they wore those clothing items as if it was a part of their everyday wardrobe. So instead of wearing sweatpants, they would wear like that little skirt with a little tie on it and just a t-shirt. So is there a way that you can begin to incorporate traditional clothing into your wardrobe? I know that I like wearing traditional clothing sometimes. That makes me feel very pretty. It makes me feel very connected to my heritage. Another thing you can do is you can start to look into if they have any festivals or celebrations coming up in your city. So let's say you have an Asian background. I know that the Chinese New Year is sometime in February, and I know that in my city, they are going to be having a celebration. I think there's like some special dragon or something that they have that will be kind of like parading around the city, or it'll be in a certain area. And that is their way of kind of celebrating the new year in that country. And speaking of celebrations, when I think of like China in particular, I know that red, the color red is really what I think of. I know that that is a very important color in that country. I know that it's often associated with like celebration and prosperity, just like how in the United States, you know how if it's your wedding day, you wear white, and that is kind of like an important color to wear if you are a bride because it has like a symbolic meaning. Are there any particular colors that are associated with the countries of your origin? Are there any special colors that they wear in that country? And if so, can you incorporate that color more into your wardrobe or into your makeup? Another thing that I think of when it comes to Asian culture in particular is I know that they have certain appliances like rice cookers and stuff like that. So I actually think of that with Latin American culture as well. I know that there are different, like the little bowls that you can get, like the mortar and pestle to make the guacamole, or they have like the special bowls for when you make homemade tortillas. Well, in the Asian culture, they also have special appliances and things like that where you can hold different Asian dishes. I think of those little square shaped sauce dishes that I've experienced like at Asian restaurants where I'm trying to like dip the pot stickers into that. Can you start to purchase little small things just to have in your kitchen because that's a part of your background, right? Those are your countries. That's your family background. Your ancestors are from there. So that is a good way that you can also begin to connect with that part of yourself. You can try to make your own sushi at home. You can make like some seaweed soup or something like that. I know that I have seaweed in my cabinet right now. Seaweed is very good for you, by the way. And when it comes to Asian media, I think about like anime and how popular that is. Like, is there a way that you can begin to play those different cartoons and things like that? Maybe you can play that in the background while you're getting ready for work, or you can just start to familiarize yourself with those TV shows and with the characters in the show. And then if you're really feeling fancy, so I actually have a friend, she is Blasian, and she dressed up as a geisha for Halloween. Like that was her Halloween costume. So not only was she representing her own culture, but she was using Halloween as an opportunity to like really show off her knowledge about that side of herself. Also, if you like dabbling with different spiritual beliefs and things like that, is there a certain temple that you can visit, or is there like a certain mindset or belief system that you can begin to read about? I guess when I think of some of the common belief systems that are associated with Asian culture, I tend to think about things like Buddhism, Confucianism, maybe Hindu if you have like a South Asian background, maybe even Sikh. I don't know if that's how you say it, the Sikh religion or belief system. Are there certain mindsets you can begin to incorporate into your life? And maybe those mindsets connect with you. Maybe you were raised with that as a part of your background. Can you revisit that? Do you believe those things? Do you believe in the whole concept of like you're going to have good luck for the new year if you do a certain thing? I know that every different ethnicity, they have like these different things that they do for New Year. So is there some sort of tradition you can try to implement into your everyday life or into your holidays? And then if you have a background where you are like Pacific Islander, I guess when I think of Pacific Islanders, sometimes I think of the different foods that they eat there. I think of like Spam and some of the different traditional dishes that they have. Can you start to incorporate those things into your diet? Can you bring a bento box to work next week? Can you get creative with the types of foods you're eating so that you can feel more connected to that part of yourself? Also, learning another language is another good way that you can connect with that part of your background. Let's say you have a Chinese background. Can you learn Mandarin? Can you learn the Cantonese language? Fun fact, I actually became so familiar with the Asian culture because Asian food used to be my favorite type of food. I became so familiar with it to the point where I can actually tell the difference between like a Chinese person versus a Korean person versus a Filipino person. Whereas before, I could not tell the difference because I just wasn't as exposed to those cultures as much. But is there any way that you can familiarize yourself with the nuances of the different countries from your background? Like what makes your country special? What makes your country different? What is the history of the place that you're from? And if you have kind of like a Pacific Islander background, maybe you have like that native blood from that background. What were the different tribal practices that people had on those islands? I'm going to do a whole video on if you have Native American or like some sort of native background. But is there a way that you can learn about the different tribal practices that they had when it comes to your country of origin or your island of origin? Why did they have those practices? What happened? Are those people still there? Is there a way that you can go and visit that place so that you can learn more about that part of yourself? Can you get one of those temporary tattoos? Because I also think of like the different tribal tattoos. You don't have to get a real one if you're not comfortable with it. But I even think of how a lot of South Asians, they get like the henna, the little cute henna tattoos on their hands. I've always wanted one of those, but I always felt like I would be appropriating the culture because it's not a part of my background. But I have seen other girls where they have the henna tattoos on their hands, or they have it on their feet, or maybe they wear like the beautiful Indian sari to represent their South Asian heritage. Those are so pretty. You literally will look like a walking Princess Jasmine if you wear one of those outfits. Another thing that I tend to think about when I think of some of the Asian cultures is I think of home decor. I know that they have like feng shui as far as like decor and organization. I also think of the very pretty like bamboo pieces of art that you can put into your home. So, is there a way that you can incorporate that type of artwork into your home decor? Because that's another fantastic way that you can connect with that part of your background, even if it's something simple like getting a pillow that has some writing on it in another language, or getting like a tribal design blanket that kind of reminds you of your home country, or your home island, or it reminds you of your family background. Those are some very simple ways that you can begin to incorporate that culture into your everyday life. Also, did you know that they have different hair treatments that are a part of like the different Asian cultures? So I think of like the Japanese straightening treatment, but I also think about how in the Indian culture they have to where you can go get a massage. You can go and get a scalp massage, and it's supposed to like help your hair to grow back. I even think about like the Ayurvedic medicine. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but like the Ayurvedic herbs, like ashwagandha and stuff like that. There are literally hundreds of different herbs that are very popular in some Asian cultures. And I know that they mix some of those herbs into oils, and they put those oils on your body, or they put them on your hair. I even start to think of like the different face masks and stuff that you can make at home that can remind you of that culture. So like the turmeric, that can help you to get rid of inflammation on the skin. It helps to naturally brighten the skin. It helps your skin to like look very healthy and stuff like that. So you could even look up the different beauty tips using those herbs that are often found in your country of origin. And by the way, bamboo leaf tea, which is a tea that really helps to grow your hair, it's supposed to help your hair grow at least 1 inch per month. So I actually learned about that from the Asian culture. If I'm not mistaken, I believe bamboo is very popular in that part of the world, or at least it grows in that part of the world. And bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants on earth, if not the fastest growing plant. So drinking the bamboo leaf tea is supposed to help your hair grow faster. I actually experimented with that before, and I did try it for 1 month, and it did, in fact, make my hair grow faster than normal. I think my hair grew 1.5 inches that month. So that is something else that you can incorporate into your diet. Or like, the green teas. I guess I think a lot about different tea when I think of Asian culture. I'm thinking of like the white tea, I'm thinking of jasmine tea, I'm thinking of oolong tea, I'm thinking of green tea. Is there a way that you can look up the different types of teas that are popular in your Asian country of origin and like what those benefits are? Because I know that for me, I used to be very obsessed with Asian beauty secrets, by the way. I love all of the different Asian, like the little beauty tools that they have. Every single one I've ever used has worked for me. So like the little strap that gets rid of the double chin, I've used that before. That has worked. I've used like different body wraps before. I have tried like the slimming tea. I also like to drink citron tea. So that is something where you can get it in a jar at the Asian market. By the way, that's another tip. You can go to the Vietnamese market. You can go to the Taiwanese market, or, the market or the grocery store that has to do with your home country. And you can just walk through the aisles and explore. And you can look and see like, okay, they have the aloe vera plant. They have like a whole entire beauty aisle. I've been to Asian grocery stores where they have a whole entire beauty section, like a very small version of Ulta. You know how like at Target, they have Ulta inside of the Target? I've been to Asian grocery stores that are really big, and they have like a very small Asian beauty section where you can get all of the different stuff. You can do the testers. You can put like the little skincare products on you. I've even been to some of the Asian malls. So it's basically like how you would see an American mall, but it's like where they have an Asian grocery store, and then they have other small stores, like a small clothing store, maybe a massage parlor on the side. Maybe they have like a place where you do your nails and toes and stuff, and then a hair salon or some sort of bubble tea shop. that's another thing that I think of when I think of Asian culture. Bubble tea. Have you ever tried bubble tea? And if not, can you learn to like it? Because I know that when I first tried bubble tea, I hate tapioca. So I hate those little black bubbles that are in the tea. That's not the one I like. What I like is the popping boba. So it's like you get the juice as your base. I usually get mango juice or like lychee juice, and then I get the popping mango and strawberry boba inside of the bottom. So there's no tapioca. There are no little chewy balls that like I can't ever chew completely that I just have to swallow. No. So I've learned how to get bubble tea that works for me. So is there a way that you can do that yourself? Have you tried any of the different types of desserts? That's another way you can connect with that side of yourself. But what do you ladies think? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.